Pilot life isn't always as glamorous as it may sound or look. So in this video, we're going to dive into the top 5 reasons that you shouldn't be a pilot. That video is coming up right now. Hello everybody, welcome back to this week's upload. If you are a first-time viewer, my name is Luke Polipsu and I'm a 16-year-old student pilot working hard to inspire the next generation of aviators. Make sure to support me by clicking that subscribe button down below and also dropping a like on this video and leave a comment letting me know what you think of it. We are going to be discussing the top 5 worst things about becoming a pilot because every profession has its downsides, and aviation is no exception from that. Please take into account that I love aviation, and this is what I plan on doing my entire life. So I absolutely outweigh all these cons with the pros, which I think are super awesome. And next week, we are going to do the top 5 best things about being a pilot, although it still is important to know the cons that comes with any job in any profession. No matter how amazing it is, there are cons to it, and these are the cons of aviation. Coming in at number 5, we have the cost of becoming a pilot. It's no doubt that this is nothing cheap when you're getting into it. It can run you generally upwards of $100,000 or more to get all of the ratings necessary to become a professional pilot. Now, people may argue, you can technically be a commercial pilot at much less than that, but in this case, we're talking about professional pilot, airline pilot, corporate pilot. You're going to spend roughly 6 figures, and people spend anywhere from $80,000 all the way to $280,000. The bright side to this, even though that sounds crazy, is that the initial investment may be a lot, but the industry will pay you back. Pilots make a lot of money, and you'll definitely be able to pay off those loans, but that is a downside, is that most young people getting into aviation are going into debt to fund their flight training. Coming in at number 4, we have time away from home. Now, this is more of my opinion and a lot of people's opinions, and of course, other people may be different. Time away from home, you're going to be spending a lot of time on the road. Roughly 3/4 of your month, you will be working and away from home. Now, there are a very small number of jobs that you can spend the majority of your nights at home if you get lucky and you're a senior at an airline and just do day trips and you live in base. That's a possibility, but more likely than that, you'll probably find a corporate gig that just does day trips, and then you will be really lucky. But generally, you are spending a lot of time away from home. This means a lot of time away from your wife, family, if you have one, and if you enjoy being home, then you might want to reconsider becoming a professional pilot. Coming in at number 3, we have commuting. This is very specific to the airline industry, and again, this is my opinion, so some people may argue this and say that it isn't a con, although this is my video, my opinion, I'm here to share that with you. Commuting to work can make a job very miserable, and I've talked to multiple airline pilots who have commuted and lived in base, and they have all come to the same consensus that living in base is by far superior, and that commuting makes the job a lot more stressful than it should be. You're going to be spending a lot of extra money on a crash pad or hotel rooms, and you're going to be wasting a lot of extra time going to and from work unpaid. If you were to live in base, you would simply drive to the airport for whatever trip you are going on, or maybe airport standby, and that is all your commute is, just like any other job. Coming in at number 2, we have seniority. Now, again, this is more targeted toward charter companies, 135 companies, 91K companies, and airline pilots. Now, if you don't know what 135 and 91K means, then you could watch my other video, which I will link below in the description, on what different flight departments mean in corporate versus airline flying. But since you probably already watched that and you know what that means, then we'll dive into that for this video. Now, being a pilot, like I mentioned, is all about seniority in most cases. Not all cases, because there's a lot of corporate flight departments that hire people and give people promotions based off of who they are as a person and how good of a pilot they are, not necessarily how long they've been at that company or how many hours they have, essentially how long they've been at that company. That's what seniority is. With the airlines and 135 companies, this can be a big downfall if you want to be more than a number in a system. You really are that. Of course, they're not going to hire, somebody who has no idea what they're doing or doesn't know how to talk to people, but you may think that you deserve a lot more money or better scheduling or really a better quality of life than people who are higher on the seniority list, but they've simply been there longer, so they're going to get it. And a lot of them are protected by unions, and that's just how the industry works. So if you're not into that, look into corporate flying, and if you're not into that, then maybe aviation isn't for you. Coming in at number 1 is studying. As a pilot, you will spend your entire career studying. Whether you're flying a Cessna 172 or a Gulfstream G650 or an Airbus A380, you are going to be studying. You're going to have training every 6 months or a year. You're going to have to go to the simulator. You're going to have to pass a check ride to make sure that you are proficient in the airplane you fly. There's going to be memory items. You're going to have to do 135 or 121 regulation training every so often. And if you really don't want to always have to be studying, then maybe aviation isn't for you. Now, don't get me wrong when I say always studying. Pilots are literally not studying every single day for their entire life. But around these training times, you are refreshing your mind on the material. And of course, as you spend more time on an airframe or at an airline or at a corporate company, you're going to become more familiar and you're going to know what is expected of you, and you're going to be much more prepared. But in the first, I would say, 5 to 10 years of your career, you're going to be studying that stuff quite a bit, and that's something to definitely consider. So like I said in the beginning of the video, this is still an amazing industry, and although these 5 things may not be the greatest, you also have to take into account the upside and how many positives and pros there are about this job. It really is an amazing job, but if these things just prevent you so much or discourage you so much to the point where you rethink your career, then that's an important decision that you need to make, and it's good that you're outweighing the pros and cons to figure out if this is something you want to do. Because one thing, even though that I am a student pilot, that I know just because the small, tiny things I have accomplished, is that you need to love flying in order to be good at it. You can't just do this job just for the money or just for the free flight benefits or for the lifestyle. You need to love flying airplanes and everything it has to come with. So with that being said, that is all I have for you today. Until next week, I want you to stay current, stay proficient, and keep the blue side up. Keep flying safe, everybody, and we will see you in the next video.